Hickok 45 here. What's your name?
John Hickok.
Ah,
Yeah,
well,
that John guy you're always talking about.
that's right. I'm always talking about you. We haven't done one together for a while.
Yeah, it has been a pretty good while, yeah.
Well, why are we doing this?
We're in the desert, first of all.
Okay, and we're commemorating something,
Yeah.
right? The desert? No.
Yeah, we made 2,000 videos. Can you believe it?
Right, we're up to 2,000, so we thought, it gives us a good excuse to just jump in front of the camera and talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is not the 2,000. I think it was actually a week or so ago, and so one of you had to point it out to.
It's not the 2,000th video.
Yeah.
Just there's 2,000 videos have happened, so we thought we'd talk about it.
Yeah.
And we're going to very briefly break down each one and explain what's good and what's bad about each one.
Right.
And that's why we're going to make this video.
And how I was an idiot in most of them, or John was, yeah. So it was a little, we're probably at 2005 or something now, but as I was admitting to some of the viewers in comments that when they told me, hey, this was your 2000s video, oh really?
Yeah.
Because I don't have visibility on it on my screen. I used to, didn't you? When you go to File Manager?
I think so. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I know it used to be. You can still see it. Like
you can look it up.
The public can see it, right? I mean,
I think that's it. The public.
Yeah.
When you're looking at it from a viewer's perspective, it's there.
Right. Yeah.
But for me, it's not. It's not that I'm that stupid, even though I might be. It's just it really is not on the home page.
Yeah. So what's that? So 2,000 videos in about 12 years, something like
12
that.
12 or 13.
You like to say winter of 2008 is kind of when we started. And what is this winter?
Yeah.
We're coming in on the winter of. Yeah. So almost just shy of 12 years, really.
We could get somebody in Kentucky to do the math on that, see how many that is a
year. Yeah, that's true. The average of, let's see, so 10, what would 10 be?
If it was 10, it'd be what, a couple hundred? Is that right? Yeah. 10 times 200.
Well, see, 1,000 would be 100, right? Yeah, so 2,000 would be 200.
Right.
And then 12, I have no idea.
Well, yeah, so if it were 10 years,
like 160
200
or
a year,
something?
that's a lot.
Almost 200 a year.
Yeah, like 175 or 80 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we actually posted the first, was it 2007, didn't we?
Yeah, but we didn't start the channel until the winter of 2008.
Okay.
It was when we did it on purpose,
Right. Yeah, because we were just messing around and didn't expect anybody to watch, and then a few people wandered in and amazed us. So, wow, these people have poor taste. We might as well do some more.
Right. Well, yeah, I consider the start of Hickok 45 to be the yellow shirt videos.
Yeah.
Because there were those videos that you posted, and the very first one I ever posted was the shooting the Colt at the buffalo.
Right.
And that was what's this YouTube thing? And then
That's right.
And then there was a couple others that were taken down, I think. So those.
Shooting through my car.
Yeah.
Just messing around. So you've heard these stories. We won't bore you with all the details, but back then, YouTube, most people, if they posted anything, it was just something goofy, really.
Yeah,
Cat video, something funny.
Yeah, no one had this idea for it to be a business at all.
Or be educational.
Yeah,
hardly.
Well, I'll tell you, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand of Nut and Fancy's story of how he got started, because he really was the first gun channel.
Gun reviewer.
And to be honest, he started so early. He might have been the first ever, one of the first ever review channels. That's the thing that people might forget about. Not only the first gun channel, he might have been the first just channel where people were reviewing stuff.
Yeah.
And because he started in 2006, and YouTube was officially released in 2005, and
he started early.
I knew about YouTube in 2006. A friend of mine who was a real tech guy told me about it, and it was at that time people were using it, at least in my generation, to basically put music videos on MySpace. Yeah, that was what it was being used for.
Well, I'm still on MySpace.
Yeah, I mean I am too, of course. It's going to come back around. I'm telling you.
That's right.
But to backtrack what I was saying, so Nut and Fancy said that he started making the videos because he was reviewing products for Amazon.
Yeah.
Right? And then he just put them on YouTube. So there wasn't this I'm going to start a YouTube channel. That's how it's sort of happened. He sort of, so that didn't even exist. You know what I mean? He didn't even know about that I don't think hardly anyone did, of that being like a thing to do.
Right.
And it sort of happened naturally from him being like, oh, I'm going to review these products for Amazon. Oh, I'll put them on YouTube.
It's kind of a why not, probably.
Right.
Like some of the early stuff we did. It's like,
Right.
why not? Because there it is. You could post it, and it's public. It's a place to
Right.
post it. That's the thing we all have to remember. It's not like in 2006 or 7 or 8, there were all these 100 million people with that were YouTube users and anxiously waiting for content, and we
Right.
were just too dumb to think about it. I mean,
Right.
who even?
Yeah.
Most people don't even know about it or
Right.
use it.
And it really wasn't until like,
Yeah.
at some point, I want to say like 2008, 2009, I feel like it started to become recognized
Yeah.
as kind of a legitimate thing, but there was still not many people doing it like as a profession like we are,
And we didn't.
a long time.
And, and of course, we started out just like a lark, just as a lark, put it
Right.
up there. It wasn't like any kind of plan, and knowing that people would watch it or that this was a thing, even for fun, that it was anything,
Yeah.
that it amounted to anything,
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's how some of the neatest things start, is when you
yeah,
come to it honest and you just do it for fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it makes it easier to really like, what's the word, but like, for it to be authentic, because
yourself, yeah.
you always came into it under those like authentic terms.
yeah,
Whereas like nowadays you have a lot of channels, even maybe most of them, not just in guns, like all over the place,
Yeah.
where they were already aware of successful YouTubers, and they were like,
Right.
I see that and I want to be that. Whereas like we came into it without that at all. It just didn't exist,
totally different mentality. Yeah, I was going to say that same thing. And before we go too far, though, again, we want to thank the people that have made this possible
Oh, yeah.
into the future. ButtsGunShop.com, really appreciate their help. Sonoran Desert Institute,
Ironically,
SDI.
that's where we are.
SDI, yeah, we're close to it, SDI.edu. In the desert, this desert.
this is
Appreciate
our
their
desert.
help immensely. And then Federal Premium, what they do for us. And of course, Ballstall and Talon Gun Grips, we get a lot of good help. But the point John was making is so valid. It's just such a different mindset, right now. Once it became something on YouTube, a place that whether or not there was any money to be made, it was for a lot of people in those early years,
Right.
like us, or not like us. We just sort of did it as a lark to start with, but there wasn't even a year or two later. I guess there wasn't as much of a notion. I might make some money doing this. Everybody likes to, I don't know, enjoys publishing what they're doing.
Right,
if it's
right.
worthwhile, let people see it, what they think about it. Hey, it's cool. I can, like Facebook or whatever. I can show this and be kind of cool, and
Yeah.
my relatives and friends can pop on YouTube and see it.
Right.
So,
And I think there's something too I like to point out is, unless they change their name, you can always tell the real OG YouTube channels when their name is something random that really doesn't make sense, like Hickok 45 or
that makes sense.
Big Guy 748 Kentucky, or just what I mean.
Yeah.
It sounds like an old Yahoo email address.
Yeah.
Because there's a period of time that once people realized what was going on YouTube, then they're, instead of being Fred's 60
Yeah.
Chevrolet, if you're starting a tech channel, you're going to call it
Something Productions, or
you're going to call it Cameras and Gadgets,
Yeah.
or something,
That's
So it's
right.
always interesting when you run across channels that have random names. You're like, oh, okay, you're one of the original.
You're early guy, like me, you're still in AOL.
Yeah. Like Nothing Fancy, perfect
Yeah.
example. Iraq Veteran 8888.
That's right.
None of those names make any sense. And not an
That's
offense
right.
to them. It's just we're in that clan of names that don't make sense.
And again, we do owe a lot to Nut and Fancy. And ironically, and I'm not sure why exactly, but I was not aware of him.
No, I didn't.
When we were posting, it wasn't like, even on a minimal level, it wasn't like, well, that guy's doing that. Looks like
Right.
fun. I didn't know
the
that.
way we discovered Nothing Fancy was people bringing up his name in our videos.
Yeah, once we got going, then people would say something, but then we'd look him up. Yeah,
Right. Exactly.
And he'd already been established.
But
Who knew?
that's because everything was so small at that time. Like I was only aware before we started. I was only aware of like videos that people were making, not to be a channel, but just like, here's a gun.
Right.
I just shot it 8 times. Look at
44
that.
Magnum. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah, so it's grown a lot, and it's nice that, well, the downside of today's social media and YouTube and everything is that anybody can post a video.
Yeah.
And the best side, the good side, the positive side is that anybody can post a video.
Right.
Right? So it's got negatives and positives.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's the thing I always liked about YouTube is there's no gatekeepers,
Yeah.
and it's still true to a certain extent, but it's a lot more complicated than it was initially because YouTube obviously has a lot more control over what you can
Right.
post and all that kind of thing. And then also, even without that, it sort of changes because so many people nowadays. It used to be like maybe my generation and the one before, people grew up, they want to be rock stars, they want to be professional athletes or whatever. Kids nowadays, they grow up wanting to be social media stars or influencers or whatever,
Yeah.
So it's like the field is so crowded. Everyone is doing content. So it's by nature, it's created gatekeepers because the guys who get started, like there's a much higher, there's almost like a paywall to get into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of buy your way in with like lots of high-end equipment and crazy things, or you have to be like a part of some kind of like network or something. It's like just to start from scratch and work your way up is way harder to do now than it was like when we started.
Yeah, depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't say anything because I mean, unless you're doing something no one's thought of, but I don't think that's
Yeah.
probably exists anymore.
Yeah, it's just it's funny because our mindset was so totally different, and I still
Easy
enjoy
to
doing
forget.
it. I still enjoy doing it. It's just one reason that I still enjoy it is because of the way we do it.
Yeah.
I would not enjoy doing tons of editing and all that kind of thing, and we're so thankful to the viewers because we can just be ourselves and do what we enjoy doing pretty much, and enough come around and keep us going. So we really enjoy that, and we enjoy the ability to do pretty much what we want, say what we want.
Mm-hmm.
We're not obligated to anybody, and as we often remind people, probably too often. But one reason you do that, we're not really defensive about it. It's just that there's always trolls and haters that just they can't stand to see somebody else be happily successful or something.
Right.
And so they're always accusing you of things. We're stupid stuff,
Yeah.
And so you feel like you're a little bit slightly obligated to remind people of some things who are maybe relatively new to like our channel or don't know
Right.
us that well yet. And that's who we talk to
Yeah.
sometimes. But anyway, it's been interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously there's been all kinds of nothing is perfect. I mean we've had issues along the way, just all sorts of various things, everything you can think of to a certain degree. But for the most part, it's been a pretty smooth ride. I mean like I said, we've been very lucky and fortunate. It's been It's been amazing. I mean it's been so much fun and it's
it
just
has.
unbelievable. Like all in all, with all of its challenges, it's like. Still, it's in my eyes, 99% amazing.
Yeah, it is, and I don't know. Part of it maybe is that we still enjoy it is we haven't taken it too seriously.
Right.
Like what I mean.
Right.
We take it pretty seriously. It's kind of what we do, but if it goes away tomorrow, so be it. I enjoy doing it, and I think it helps us be ourselves, authentic, because we're not. God, desperate. Oh my God, how many views did that video get? Or how many will this video get? We just do kind of what we enjoy doing, and we know what you all like. We know what you all like and don't like from experience, but not to sound selfish, but we know what we like.
Yeah.
And the kinds of guns we want to shoot and things we want to do. We know, like John has said many times from early on, we just kind of figured out what we like to see in a video, and close-ups of the guns or shooting or whatever it is, and information we would kind of like to know. And that's really kind of what we did, because we were such gun nuts ourselves, and so we just kind of went from there. And people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah, I had a thought now. I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
But one thing I would talk about is one reason we're out.
Oh yeah,
we're out
why are
in
we
the-
here? And why
in
has
the
John
desert.
built a big fire when it was 100 degrees today? Is what
Because it's
I wonder.
cool. Fires are great.
Fires are cool.
They are.
Quote him on
Fires
that
are
one.
cool. It looks cool, right? There's a cactus, there's a fire. I mean, come on, right?
Tell them where we are. Yeah.
So we're in.
Actually, Marana, right?
Yeah, we're in southern Arizona, north of Tucson, and I'm working out at a comedy club called Laugh's which is in Tucson, Arizona. And great club, great guys that run it and everything, and they're nice enough to have me out a bunch of times. And I'll be hosting it this weekend. You probably won't be seeing this video by then or whatever, but some of you guys know and may have seen my clips and stuff. I've been doing stand-up comedy for almost 5 years, coming up on 5 years.
Wow.
I've been doing it, which to some of you may sound like a long time, but for example, I know a bunch of guys who've been doing it for 13, 15 years, and they're still trying to kind of break through. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it takes a long time. They say in the business it's like a minimum of like 10 years for most people, unless you're a total phenom and just everything lines up and works out perfect for you,
Unless they're really funny like me, right?
Right. Like you, it would take maybe 2 years or something, like that. So yeah, that's one thing. It's like, it's funny. I feel like people have opposite reactions. Like some people, they hear I do stand up, they think it's like I'm playing around with it. They don't realize that I'm actually committing a lot of time to it. Like I'm actually going out every night. Like I'm really trying to do it. And then other people have this idea that, I'm like the guys they see on the Netflix specials or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still making my way up, in the ranks. Like if you come see me, I might be doing a 7-minute set or a 10-minute set or maybe 15 or something, or depending on the show, maybe 20 if it's like I'm doing my own show or something like that, So I'm still budding as a stand-up comedian.
It's like a lot of things. There's just so much more to it than you realize.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
realize I've been to a lot of comedy shows, but I never thought about the different types of shows and how you may have a headliner, the person that's advertised coming through this weekend or whatever,
Right.
but then there's other comedians that are really funny too. And there may be 2 or 3 or 4
Right.
that perform that night, and there's really a structure to that, though, isn't there?
Yeah, like on a typical show, like at a club, you've got the host, right, the MC, which is the guy who he comes out, introduces the
Yeah.
show, like thanks for everybody for coming, and then you do like about a 10 or 12-minute set, which I'll be hosting this weekend at Laughs, and then you might have what's called a guest spot,
Yeah.
which could be a guy who's like host level or maybe not, and they're trying to see if he could host, but it's usually like they're either just giving the guy a chance to just do a spot, or they're kind of trying him out to see how he is, and those will be like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, sometimes 10 if they really like you. And then you have the middle act or the feature act, which is really the opener for the main event, the headliner, and they'll do like anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes, and then the headliner will do anywhere from 45 to an hour.
Yeah.
So you're kind of climbing your way up that ladder. And it depends on a lot of factors. Like, first of all, you have to have the material,
Right.
and just because you have the material doesn't mean it's good or that people will like it or that they will like you, So there's a lot of elements to it, But I'm still kind of at the host level. I can get guest spots and I can host and different things like that. But I'm still working my way up to be a middle act. That's kind of what's what my sights on are at this point.
And then in addition to that, too, you have like on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night at some club, you may have someone putting on a show, like one of your colleagues, somebody kind of
Like a lower
like
level
you put
show.
on yourself, and you may just be kind of
Yeah.
a spot for like 6 different comics, do 7 minutes or something. Is that
Well,
right? Or,
yeah, clubs would have like low-level headliners on like off nights, but then I think what you're talking about is like independent shows, right?
Yeah.
I might book a show at like a brewery or a bar or something
yeah,
like that,
'cause you do that.
and it'll be a bunch of comics that are like around my level, some worse, some better, and then it's just a bunch of us doing a show.
So there's lots of different things.
Right. Another question I get a lot too about that while we're here is that they're like, well, how come we don't post your material online?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, I feel like a lot of people understand this these days, but the difference in comedy is like a joke is only good maybe 2 or 3 times that you hear it,
Yeah.
maybe even just one time.
It's not like a song.
Right, not like a song where you just want to hear it over and over. And it takes a very long time to build material. Like some people have this idea that you just go up there and you're just being spontaneous, but that's what you're supposed to make it look like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you work very, very hard to
to
seem
make
like
it look like it was just
yeah, to
natural.
seem like you just went up there and just had these thoughts and they just happened to be funny.
Yeah.
You know, but to put together jokes and bits and things like that, it's like, you know, it's like building
It's like
a
writing
sword.
a poem. It's got to be exactly.
Yeah, or like building a sword, like you have to constantly be shaping it and
Yeah.
honing it and everything. So it takes a long time to put all this material together. So I'm very guarded about just putting it out because ultimately, to have a career in stand-up comedy, people have to want to come see your jokes.
Right.
And if you've already put all your jokes out there, then they're not. What are they
That's
coming to
right.
see? You know.
And I think in today's world, even earlier, of media and various forms of media, and how easy it is to put something on YouTube or whatever, you know, that we tend to think of, unless we have heard of this person, or they've got a special on Netflix and they don't have much of a career or whatever. But that's the thing I've realized just from John's involvement in this, how and I just know this as an English major and plays and drama and everything, you know, the live performance is so important, of course, in a play. So that's really what it's like, except jokes are even a different realm where it needs to be fresh. You can't be sharing it around like a song. Yes, it's so different, you know. I can hear Bob Dylan or whoever's Tom Petty songs, every one of them again tonight, and I'd enjoy them all, and I've heard them 100 times.
Right, and also comedy is like so much better live.
Yeah.
You could watch a mediocre comedy special on Netflix or whatever, or even a comedy special you might watch like, this is not very good. But if you were in the room when they did that same
different.
exact hour, you'd be dying probably.
It's just like a play. It's so much better.
It's totally different.
It's meant to be live.
It is. It's meant to be live.
Yeah.
But people do put out material, obviously, like.
Yeah.
And once comics have been doing it for a long time, and they get much faster with how much they're writing and stuff like that, and more established, and some guys will put out a whole new hour like every 2 years or 3 years or something like that. But I'm still trying to build my first hour, so. You know.
So it's like you're creating this bag of gold coins or something. These good jokes, and you really got to protect them.
Yeah.
And I can tell them a lot of times, go to Tucson and tell them, and go to Phoenix and go to Cincinnati and get paid at all of these clubs to tell my jokes because they're good jokes. But once I put them out there, it's different. They're gone, kind of. Yeah, so it's a different kind of thing, animal.
But with that being said, and we'll get off this topic on something else. But with that being said, I am working on what I'm calling it a micro special. I'm going to put out a comedy special. It's going to be like 7 minutes long, and it's going to be either all or mostly jokes that are about firearms.
Yeah, we'll post it on the main channel, probably.
Yeah, we'll post it on here, and I have it. It's like I mostly have it together, but you know it's going to be a little while, but it should be coming soon. Like I would say within a year, maybe.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
The you know COVID and everything kind of screwed it up, you know, but it should be. So look out for that.
Yeah, we talked about anything. We haven't done this for a while. So
I
don't even know what else we're going to talk about.
Comedy stuff. I just want some of those things. It's like people always hound me about. I want to kind of address some of those.
It's a giant FAQ video. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, comedy is something almost everybody enjoys, even though some people don't have a sense of humor.
Oh, that's the worst. I hate that. Like especially it's of course the biggest problem with that is on social media.
Yeah.
You say something and you're being sarcastic and
I know.
they don't know.
They take it literally.
And dry, like we both love dry humor.
Yeah.
So you'll say something in a video, and people will be like, "What? You were in World War II? You're not old enough to be in World War II." You know.
I know. I've been accused of stolen valor because I mentioned using a certain gun in World War II when I hate to admit it, but I wasn't born yet, so they wouldn't let me enlist.
See, now if you joked about being in Vietnam.
That's different.
That'd be different. See, I can joke about being in Vietnam.
Right.
I can't joke about being in Iraq, but you know.
And what makes it so surprising too, of course, is because I'm not 100 years old. You know, which you almost have to be to fought in World War II.
I think it's up to like.
And so you think you're just making an innocent joke about something because the last thing I'd ever do is, geez, be a what do you call it, a poser.
Yeah.
In terms of the military. Wow, what a lame human being. That is.
It's sad. It is really sad.
But so I've not made any jokes about World War II since that's been like 8 years ago. Probably did. I think it was a Thompson video.
You have to start doing the Civil War or something.
Yeah, so I don't make jokes about fighting unless it's a Civil War, Spanish American War.
Yeah.
Maybe World War One. I don't know. I'd be
Yeah.
careful. There's people that don't have a very good concept of history out
But I
there.
mean, really, you could joke about being in any war up to Korea,
Yeah,
and it should be fine, you know.
should be.
But yeah, some people are sense of humor.
Well, and then too, in people's defense, the World War II. The more I've thought about it too, and I should know, having taught school so long, that well, for one thing, a lot of people are vague on the dates for the wars. If they are 25 years old, right now or something, and then also a lot of people, if they're 25 years old, they're not very good at and I'm not very good at telling age. How old somebody is.
Yeah.
I remember being young, and my gosh, anybody over 50, they could have been 70 or 80 or 62.
Yeah.
It's like now that I'm at my age, I have a hard time nailing somebody's age. If they could be anywhere between 16 and 25 sometimes.
Right.
Especially the girls or females sometimes, and guys too. So I understand that, maybe I do. Maybe I just look like I'm 98, John. Let's face the fact. Yeah. Here I'm accusing these people of being history challenged and everything else. And hell, I just look like I'm 98. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. But and if your grandparents are not surviving, and you grew up in maybe with not much family, and you just not been around people over 60 or something much, you don't know.
Yeah, it is shocking sometimes how people don't have a good concept of time, like recent history in the last 150, 200 years. I guess maybe the reason I do or we do is because of guns.
Yeah.
Guns have helped me understand.
Yeah.
I can, give me any time in the last maybe 200 years, and I can pretty much tell you, okay, this is how people got around at that time. This is probably kind of what they were wearing.
Technology.
The guns they had, technology. Wars were going on around that time.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing I used to do in my classroom. I wasn't a history teacher, I was an English teacher, but when you're studying literature and different things, you try to put things in a time frame or perspective, and then often in literature there's millions of references to things you have to explain, especially to younger people, about maybe the cost of something. Someone makes a big deal out of saving up $2, and a 13-year-old might snicker at that or something. Well, it was 1850, saving up for. So anyway, I would put a timeline on the board, or the story involved a war part of it or something.
Yeah.
And I would put a timeline on the board sometimes. Okay, and it was kind of scary because I'd ask, okay, who can tell me when the Civil War occurred or World War One, just the things we're talking about. And a lot of them would have a pretty good idea, but there'd be some with no clue. So I just put it on the timeline. Well, let's go back to 1812, because I think that's when the War of 1812 took place. I'm not sure.
So, yeah.
But anyway, Civil War, especially in the 1860s, and move on up, Spanish-American War, maybe World War One. These things they've heard about so much. They may have relatives that fought in those wars. They just put them on that timeline, and Korea, World War II, and Vietnam, and just just give them a little bit of sense of history. Not that the only thing that happens in history are wars, but that's a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah, definitely. One thing that came to mind, something to mention is, I know we mentioned this many times before, but something I always would like to see is that people who are gun people, who own and shoot firearms, or part of the hobby, I would like to see us less at each other's throats over the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thought I had earlier today. This is something I've been seeing a lot of in the past few years, is people have invented, just out of thin air, this distinction between pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment, right? And it was just so this is the interpretation of it that people have sort of invented of recent, is that if you're pro-gun, it doesn't necessarily mean you support the Second Amendment, right? And if you're pro-Second Amendment, then it's a rights thing. And if you're pro-gun, you don't necessarily support gun rights, right? But pro-gun is just a term that people have used forever, and a lot of people don't even know that people have just created this new interpretation of it. So I see this stuff all the time, oh yeah, you're pro-gun, you're not pro-Second Amendment.
You're just pro-gun, huh?
Right. It's what are we doing? Why are we doing it? I mean, pro-gun and pro-Second Amendment meant the same thing for decades, and all of a sudden someone decided, you know what, let's just arbitrarily divide ourselves,
Right.
you know, and it really bothers me.
Probably comes out of the FUD issue.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
well, you're
absolutely.
pro-gun, you're just a FUD. You're
Right.
pro-gun.
That's absolutely what it is. But it's like, I feel like it's like people want people to be FUDs. That's what
Well,
I mean. You know, it's
we could
crazy.
talk about that for about 3 hours. You know, the
Oh, I
social
know.
media mentality and how we're all
But it's like
dividing.
they're trying to create them,
I
though.
know.
You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, I tell you what, you really have to be careful throwing stones. We're all living in glass houses.
Yeah, it's a great line.
Because that I think we as gun owners and pro Second Amendment people and pro gun people,
Yeah.
whatever, we complain about social media and the mentality out there, how politicians or media and everybody, and how we're all being divided.
Yep.
And there's politicians, they're just, whether it's Trump or it's Biden or Obama, they're just dividing people. We're real quick to
Yeah, and they try to do
criticize them for
Yeah.
dividing people.
Oh, it's
Well, what are we
crazy.
meanwhile doing the same thing?
Oh, it's so insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, the two-party system, it's so divisive. And then on another post, you're a FUD because you think this. It's
Yeah.
like, Jesus.
Well, and I've talked about this in Sunday shoot around. I really think social media has turned a lot of us into old gossips.
Yeah.
And it's a mentality. It's not.
Nice save, by the way.
It's almost not our fault. Yeah, it's not our. I don't know. It is our fault, but it's this technology and this ability all of a sudden to be able to communicate with everybody and know everything that's going on. And
Yeah.
I think it has tapped into some element of human nature that I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
pretend to be
yeah.
a psychologist, but it's tapped into some element
It has.
of human nature, and it has, I don't know, it has increased all of our, seems like almost everybody's desire to be more opinionated and adamant about
Yeah.
everything.
Everyone's
No
an
black and
activist
white,
now.
no gray area. Everything is black and white. I've got to be really adamant about where do I stand on the color shoes you're wearing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I've got to be anti or pro.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're onto something with that. Definitely.
I mean, it's just, but maybe it may be something so simple, just so that I can post. If I'm looking at my Facebook feed or my Instagram, whatever it is, I have nothing particularly to say. Well, I need to have an opinion, don't
Right,
I, to post something meaningful. So let me
Yeah.
develop an opinion. So we've kind of exercised that part of our brain to develop an opinion, whether we really believe it or not. But it just is fun to
Right.
jump in there with it.
Well, yeah, to build on that, I'll tell you what it is there's a certain high associated with posting on social media and getting
Yeah.
attention, whatever it is.
And then
right?
seeing,
And so one of the best ways to get a high on social media is to either have a bunch of people agree with you or a bunch of people disagree with you,
Yeah, that's true.
right? So you're looking for a hot take or you're looking for something that's
Right.
right in line with what everyone thinks. You're going to get all this love back from people, you know?
yeah.
So people are, so it's almost like
You get attention either way. Yeah.
Right, it's forcing people's minds to split off
One down, one way or the
kind
other.
of. Yeah. So it's like it's a drug. It's like social media in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know, like when I say social media, I mean YouTube technically is.
Yeah.
But I mean social. Like there's a different type of social media where there's a limited number of creators, and everyone's watching those creators.
Yeah.
Which is what YouTube is.
YouTube's a little different, but,
But
still
like
got the same
Instagram,
elements.
right? But like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
Yeah.
everyone posts on those. Almost
Yeah.
everyone posts. You know, everyone is a creator basically.
Yeah.
So there's a drug from the attention that you get, and I think actually the drug is stronger the
Mhm.
smaller the following you have, because it's like more personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Like if you're a big creator. You know, you're like, you kind of have an idea of like, okay, this is how many views I should be getting, and it's more mathematical, and I feel like the drug isn't like as strong.
I was going to say
You know what I mean? And
it's
also,
not.
there's so many comments, like no one has
you
a
can't
big.
see everything. And
Yeah,
especially, and then also, not to interrupt you, but if you've been doing it longer, I was going to say when you
Yeah.
started saying that, I remember early on that I remember being kind of tied into that more so. We
Right.
posted a video, and I was really
Oh, what are they
anxious to
saying?
see the
Yeah.
reaction. Did people like it? What are they saying about? Is this video? You know, what about this video? Because it's all honesty, it's kind of a new thing to you're performing in a way in something. You know, even though
Yeah.
the way we do it's not really performing, but you're doing this, and gosh, I hope I did well. And when it's posted and it's made live, it was kind of really interesting to see
Yeah.
the reaction. I remember those days, but
Yeah.
it's been a long time since I've really
Right.
And not that I'm losing interest or I don't care. It's just a little different now.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are only beginning to wake up to this idea that drugs are not just something you buy at your friend Chris's house. Like social
Chris
media.
who? What's his last name?
Yeah. He lives at no. It's like social media is a drug, like really a drug is like anything that
Mood
they
altering.
can control
Yeah.
your positive emotion. So
Yeah.
it's like Facebook, Instagram, they're like your drug dealer. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
And the unfortunate side effect of the social media drug is the divisiveness and the anger.
Yeah.
You want to have a contrary opinion because then you're going to get these angry messages back and oh, it's
Right.
exciting, I got a notification, what'd they say, I'm angry,
I know.
and it's just
And even if people are slamming you, at least you're getting that attention.
right.
And there's people that do it just for that.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned in a Sunday shoot around recently, how I've talked to you about this, some reading I did on in psychology about paranoia. One reason some people, I mean, it's a theory, I guess, I don't know, but that at least if you're paranoid, people care about you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting attention from maybe it's make-believe forces, but it's a powerful drug, like you say. If I'm constantly on the lookout, I think people are after me. Really, and I know it's also a very serious condition. I don't mean to make light of it,
Right.
but on lesser levels, at least, if I think people are out to get me and I'm having to watch for them all the time, and I'm talking about that, and people really have to get me. Part of that, it could be rooted in the fact that I need people to care about me.
Right.
And no one cares about me.
100%, yeah.
At least they care enough they want to kill me or something.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And they're so, even if I'm upsetting everybody, my gosh, it feels so good, get all this attention.
The human mind is very complicated, and the
Yeah.
thing to always remember is something I like to point out to people is that there's people way smarter than you and us who understand how the mind works on a level that we could never comprehend, and a lot of those people are involved in creating things like Facebook, Instagram,
That's right. And
and
commercials.
and commercials.
And wait a minute, I resent that. You say there are people smarter than me?
Well, maybe you're a bad example,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like
They'll be
you
pointing
guys
at
and
me. They'll
me.
be pointing at me when you say that.
Yeah.
What do you mean, we Kemosabe?
Yeah, so it's like I guess the moral of the story is like I don't think that like social media is all bad. I just think
No, no.
you have to be careful about how you use it. Just like alcohol, it's a drug. I'm drinking a beer right now,
Right.
but I know if I drink 10 of these, I'm going to feel really bad,
Right.
and if I drink 10 every night, then it's going to have a long-lasting effect. So it's like I know to drink. I'll drink a few tonight and then none tomorrow. It's like so you have to know how to control it. But with alcohol, it's a drug. The
Right.
dangers. But with social media, we're only just now beginning to learn.
We're understanding better, I think.
Yeah.
And half the battle is just being aware, I think. I talk about it a lot, when I'm yakking at you, I know, but it's always been a little bit of a thing I've had a strong interest in back long before internet, is just commercials on TV. Same thing. We need to be aware, at least, of how we're being influenced and affected. And as John said, there are a lot of smart people that know the psychology to use when they're putting together a multi-million-dollar commercial. How to push your buttons, get your attention, all that kind of thing, affect your decision making, and then the big tech is all this thing. But just being aware of what it might be doing to us, I think, is half the battle. Turning us all into a bunch of gossips and people who are intolerant, and it might be a lot of the reason that we're seeing the incredible intolerance today in the world.
No,
And
it's all connected.
trying to shut us down, our guns down, and everything else.
Yeah, it's all connected.
Yeah. So it's good to be aware of it.
Yes.
We're not experts in it, but it's
Yeah. But anyway, so we made 2,000 videos.
yeah, I know. Here we got off on all this stuff. We got to quit doing.
No, I think
it's been
that
a long
was-
time since we've done a video
Yeah.
together. So,
But no, I think all that was.
but eventually it's going to get dark. So it's getting.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to shut.
But no, I think that was good. I think that was good. Some of the stuff, there may be some people listening that weren't aware of that, and there's probably a lot more people listening that are aware of it, but kind of it's good to be reminded. I mean, I forget about it all the time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of 2,000 videos and the videos and talking about how we do the videos and everything, this is what we have enjoyed about what we've done, the project. And one reason it never gets old is because we're just, kind of being ourselves 99%. And, like this, we come out and we were just going to, while we're enjoying the desert, let's do a video. We haven't done one for a while together. And celebrating 2,000 videos.
Right.
And we didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Well, Yeah, believe it or not, I actually like, we're going to do a video like this. I really enjoy going through the pages of the script and everything and memorizing it.
Yeah.
And at first it was really difficult for me to memorize like something for
You
this
got better
long.
about that, though. It's a comedy work.
Yeah, because you wouldn't believe how thick the script is for a video like this, and but it's fun. We make some changes and some
That's
different
right.
things.
Edit it
like,
for a couple of weeks, and then we.
Yeah, and then we make then we make it, and it looks like to you as you're watching, you're like, there's no way this is scripted.
Looks casual, doesn't it?
It's just.
I tell you, it's a good thing I'm too stupid to do that for real. I mean, John will tell you, we have done maybe a handful of videos out of the 2000. I don't know what it would have been, maybe a more complicated FAQ or a deep wood saw.
Yeah,
something like that was so short that we did really want to say some lines that were pretty much exact to make it come off the way
anything
it did.
that's
And I have trouble, I swear, I'm not a total idiot, but I don't know, sometimes if it's 5 or 6 lines and, I don't know, I guess maybe I am stupid. I think part of it is I'm so used to just being natural and everything off the cuff that if I do have some lines, I still want to be natural, and it's just hard to mesh. If you got a script of even 5 lines that you want to get right and some supposedly, possibly funny FAQ or deep wood stuff.
Well, like in stand-up, a joke that you've told hundreds of times, and you just have to bust it out like you just thought of it.
Yeah. And so I'm not used to that. I don't like to do that, and it's hard for me to be natural if it's a line I've memorized.
Right.
So, but 99% of you know that John was joking, right? Yeah. There's another.
No, I was.
There's a few thousand people that are looking at John. Wow, man, that must be some script. How do y'all remember all that? You seem so natural.
No, because I'm a terrible actor, so they didn't believe me. Well, I don't know how long we've
I
gone.
know how long we better.
Probably.
So this is why John's set and hosting at Laughs will be after you. It'll be after right now, but it's before you see this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure.
Because this is so long, you can't upload it probably in a hotel room or anything. But
yeah, well, you let it run overnight.
So
maybe.
probably last week is when we did this.
Yeah, but if you're still watching.
Yeah.
And I know you aren't because I've seen the graphs. If you're still watching, you can, if you want to know about shows I have coming up, like Dad mentions them in the Shooting the Breeze sometimes.
Yeah, and try to.
And also, my Instagram is John JOHN _ HICKOK45. So John _ Hickok 45, and I post usually if I have a show coming up.
Yeah, keep check on that, and I usually mention it in a Sunday shoot around. I have it in the note.
And to be honest, I don't promote all of them. I try to promote the ones that I feel like are going to be good shows, because sometimes, I'm doing a show and it's like, I don't want to put anybody out, but it's like just every now and then you do a show and you get there and it's just there's no one there, or it's very loud in there. And it's just, comedy's one of those things where, like, if you see someone bomb, they might be bombing because no one's paying attention. Like there might be 3 people in the room that think it's hilarious, but they're not going to laugh because it's weird to laugh by yourself.
There's a weird dynamic in the room, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's always like my fear is like I'm on this show.
Y'all come on out tonight.
It's just like a hopeless show, and they're like, oh man, John sucks. And it's like, well,
if you get enough of them out though to the show, you all are obligated to laugh at John. I've told you that before.
No, they're not obligated.
Either laugh at his jokes. If they're not funny, just laugh at him for thinking they're funny or something.
Well, I've got some clips out there if you want to see.
Yeah, he's actually funny. I told you all that. He's funny. But it's good to talk to you all. And again, the springboard for even doing this was just we passed a week or two ago 2,000 videos, and so we have an excuse to yak at you and do a vlog, as we call it, incorrectly. And wish you well. And thank you as much as anything.
And lastly, shout out to the people who own this place. I'm staying we're way out in the desert here.
Yeah.
While I'm doing these spots at Laugh's Comedy Club. They actually watch our videos, I found out.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, well, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
They watch the videos. So shout out to them.
Yeah, it's a neat house.
Watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool
I'm staying in town.
facility.
I just come out and hassle John interfere with his joke riding and enjoy the desert and everything.
Yeah. I told him how cool it was out here, so he had to drive out.
Yeah,
Quick drive.
Yeah, it's not a very long drive.
Yeah,
you know.
come on by, Dad.
Yeah, yeah. I talked about that in the Sunday shoot around. It's I just was ready to get out of town, and yeah, Tucson is one of my favorite places. It really is, and we had a great time and hit some gun shops.
It's my idea of the West.
Yeah, it is. If you've ever been to Tucson area, Phoenix, Tombstone, boy, you got to visit. You really do.
Yep.
All right, I guess we'll let you go. Again, thank you for giving us this job. Can't thank you all enough. We really enjoy doing it, and wouldn't be doing it if it weren't for you all watching and for the fact that you have such horrible taste that you watch the videos. So we hope you continue in that vein. Okay? See y'all later.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Life is good.